AskReddit by Moss. What's a financial shock that people often don't see coming? Almost all the random expenses that come with home ownership. New HVAC. New roof. Sewer line repair. List goes on. Sump pump or sewer issues are the sneaky one that gets overlooked on inspections. Job loss. Near instant doom spiral. My husband and I were both made redundant from the same company on the same day. We weren't given a firm finish date, though sometime between tomorrow, August, and November, and if we left before our final date we'd forfeit our redundancy payout. We were called into separate meetings, so neither of us knew it was happening to the other. There was a lot of bad behavior from that company in our last few months there, but it was just cruel letting me leave that room thinking we'd be okay because at least my husband still had his job. When I got out, checked my phone, and realized he'd lost his job as well, I doom spiraled hard. One I saw too often was when the husband dies, the pension stopped. It sucked helping older women find jobs, especially when they had no experience in any job. We had to provide training in soft skills, too, like showing up at an exact time. When I was in college, I got a job working at a local tax office to earn some extra cash during the summer. One day, we had a woman come in tears, because her husband had died unexpectedly and she, quite literally, had no idea how property taxes worked. None. Her husband had handled all the finances for their entire 40+ year marriage and left her no direction in the wake of his passing. Long story short, it was a huge mess and something I wouldn't wish on my worst enemy. Bad enough to lose your partner, but then to have to navigate all this stuff on your own when you have never done it before has to be, well, a lot. I vowed at that moment that I would never be in a position like that. And, fast forward 30+ years, I am not. Please at least be aware of your financial life if you are part of a couple. Stuff happens and you don't want to be dealing with this stuff when you are grieving. Family members with poor financial management who have emergencies and no one else to go to. That is my parents. Having a baby with absolutely any health problems. Folks are starting to understand just having a kid is expensive. Birth, daycare, cost of the car seat, etc. But having a diabetic toddler or a child who needs heart surgery is just off the charts. My friends from college had a baby with vision and hearing impairments. It's absolutely upended them financially. It changes who can babysit, who will go to doctor's visits, and pretty much every part of their house has had to change. She's not even school-aged yet. I'm a teacher at a preschool and CO, and I know some families that are paying over $18K per year for one child. Daycare childcare alone is no joke. I can't even imagine factoring in the rest of having a child along with that. Based on our personal finance, co-signing a loan then getting stuck paying when the person fucks off. My brother wants me to co-sign his mortgage. Is that a good idea? No, I'm not on the deed. Why do you ask? Edit. I did it. Thanks for those of you who supported me. Living too long. It runs out. I work with the elderly as a CNA and it disgusts me the cost of these places that cater to seniors. Not care homes but the apartments where they do lots of stuff for them. And it's not like they are living in a nice resort or anything like that. And yeah, they try with the food but still only give people a couple of choices at each meal. For the amount they are charging for rent they should be doing a lot more for them. I feel they could bring their rent prices down by half and would still have more than enough to run the place and for the seers to continue making money. Care homes could do a lot more for the amount that they charge people. First of all, they could hire more support staff instead of worrying about making money on these places. It's supposed to be about caring for people and keeping them comfortable. Many of them fail miserably at this. Anything teeth related? This was my first thought. I have a lot of old large fillings that I got in high school and they are starting to chip away, so I've got a bunch of ticking time bombs all needing crowns in my mouth. Divorce. Marriage is grand. Divorce 100 grand. Former bankruptcy attorney here. There are so many. Not having insurance when a medical event or car accident happens. Even insured medical expenses are a mess. Getting your car repossessed means you'll still end up paying the majority of the note because cars don't sell at auction. Divorce means your income stays the same but your expenses double. If you get a judgment against you and your state allows wage garnishments, they can take a huge portion of your check, setting you back substantially. Sudden job loss. Wage garnishment for child support. Childcare daycare. Buying a car you can't afford and sudden repair costs. Car insurance. Don't get a ticket. 20-year veteran insurance agent here. Call your agent and price the insurance before you buy the car. You wouldn't believe how many young men come in with Mustangs or Chargers and the price of the insurance is more than the car note. Family member committing a serious crime. This is happening to me now. Entire world upside down. Deleted. My father had cut out an article for a casket wholesale dealer. The casket he had was lovely and cost 20% of the price of the same one through the funeral home. They have to accept you having your own casket. This thread is giving me a fucking heart attack that I can't afford. Getting sick. Especially if you have the high deductible health insurance to save money because you're perfectly healthy. So was I before I got endometriosis. So was my brother before he broke his leg in 14 places. So was my buddy before he got pericarditis at age 20. Your body can betray you. Getting old. Your body doesn't work like it used to. Ageism in the workplace. Medical cost. As a 40-plus-year-old male, I'm realizing I'm no longer capable of doing things in the amount of time my 20-year-old self would be able to do them. And it's frustrating. Daycare. We've got a little one on the way. The most affordable daycare around here is more than my mortgage each month and has around a 9-12 month wait list. The other ones in the area that take babies under 1 year cost my entire monthly paycheck. Not planning for retirement. Social Security isn't as much money as you think, and if you don't have IRA or 401k you're planning for poverty. For some planning for retirement is almost impossible. We're just out here trying to survive. I have a job with a pension but I'm very scared about my future. Vet bills. My dog has had 3 surgeries in the past 3 years. Edit. No pet insurance. All cash unfortunately. But that's what money is for and you plan ahead for these things. If my dog wasn't on his last few years I might do insurance. I don't know much about it. Edit. Pet insurance it is. I'm a vet. Almost weekly I have pets that are euthanized because their owner cannot afford the diagnostics or treatments for their emergency. Needing a heart stent in their 40s even though they are a runner in very good shape, and their insurance has a 10k max out of pocket. Completely hypothetical and happening on Monday. Make sure you do all your follow-up. My brother had one put in and only went to his first yearly check 5 years later he died at work, leaving behind a 5-year-old and a 7-year-old. Death of the main breadwinner. I have $1.5 million in life insurance on myself. If I die, then they can invest it and get $60,000 per year for life on the interest. When you have 0 family and friends you see that shit hits the fan all the time. And it's costly. You don't realize just how often until you're 100% on your own. Even worse when you live paycheck to paycheck. It's nearly impossible to prepare for these kinds of things. And don't even try to rely on anyone, it just adds bumps in the road. All you can do is save. Every penny counts. Being diagnosed with an illness 4 years ago, I was diagnosed with an incurable chronic illness, and even with insurance the cost is extreme. Insurance doesn't cover as much as people think, and add not being able to work on top of that. Deleted. Home ownership. The issues that come with it. I know others said it, but I can't stress it enough. Home ownership problems can make you go from middle class to poverty real quick. Yep, and I'm in the middle of that now. The dream of owning a fixer-upper and making it something special is actually just nightmare after nightmare. I'm looking forward to selling it and living out a van, to be honest. The stress and financial burden is not worth it. Long-term care costs. If you can't take care of yourself, you should budget about $50k $100k a year. So many planned inheritances go up in smoke because the money they wanted to give their kids goes to their long-term care. Long-term care insurance is important, folks. Make sure your parents have it. For what it's worth, I would not recommend long-term care insurance, LTCI. They refused to pay out on both my grandparents. The LTCI needed them to be in a bad place for at least 6 months, then took 8-10 months to send someone to assess them. By then, my grandparents went downhill quick and died before being approved. They paid out $10k after my grandparents died because my dad threatened to report them to the state. Between both grandparents, they paid in thousands for 20+ years. It would have been better return in a high yield savings account. Escrow shortage. Your loan officer should have warned you. Sorry they didn't. I always give my clients an estimate of tax increases escrow shortfall amount. As my father always said, money does not buy happiness until your family is in the hospital. Social Security overpayments. Hello. This is the SSA, and we overpaid you $20,000 over the course of your disability. Please, pay it back in full in 30 days. Hold up. What? They do that? They do that to disabled people? Wow. Unexpected car repair. We just got our car back yesterday after it had to be repaired. A car driving by our house lost a tire. The tire rolled through the intersection, bounced up onto the curb, rolled across our lawn, and hit our car parked in our driveway, denting the driver's door. Just over $2,000 to have it repaired. The car wasn't even in use. It was parked where it belongs, and it still managed to get itself $2,000 in dents. Thank goodness for insurance. They've done economic surveys. Most Americans couldn't afford an unexpected $1,000 expense. So, just about friggin' anything. I think those surveys have come into question though. They asked something like, how would you handle a $1,000 expense, and listed options, with a few being using credit. But that's slightly disingenuous. Because many people would pay for $1,000 on a credit card and then use their money or savings to pay the card. Specifically, having a baby. Especially an EQ baby. Vehicle expenses. Tires, brakes, cooling, electrical, suspension. Most people expect oil changes, but not anything else. Emergency pet care costs. My cat had a dental issue and had a canine tooth yanked. Poor boy. Cost was $600 plus follow-up preventative, x-rays, blood work, cleaning, etc. was another $1,500. Cancer. Been there, done that, $750k in medical bills. United Healthcare took care of all but $6k. It's left me with a permanent disability that makes it very difficult to work, and I've been unemployed since 2020. It's been a major test of our financial resiliency. A funeral. I was a young widow and my husband's funeral and burial was $11,500, which was very basic. No fancy casket. The cemetery only allows markers and not headstones. That was over 15 years ago. Now it would probably be at least $15,000. That's why I want to be cremated. Unexpectedly high medical bills can really hit hard. You might not see them coming, but they can mess up your finances out of nowhere. Balloon payments for those who go with contract for deeds. Speaking from current experience, your dog getting cancer if you don't want to just let it die. The difference in registration and insurance when you get rid of the book your parents bought you in high school and the new SUV you just bought. Extremely low wages for entry-level positions that require a degree and 10 years of experience. Gestures vaguely at everything. Take it easy, man. You're going to break something and we can't afford that. All of them. People think I'm crazy, but I have funds for every major appliance and I track them to their lifespan. So, bought my home and started a roof, furnace, AC, etc. fund day one. Now when they occur I'll pay them and have zero stress because the money is sitting in a HISA waiting. My husband hates that I have accounts for everything. Everyday spending. Mortgage. Auto. Maintenance. Taxes. Vacation. Emergency. I squirrel a little away each payday into each. My mom did the same thing, but she had cash hidden all over the house. Deleted. You can estimate approximately $10-20K per year. This is a very vague range with numerous variables, but I think that range is appropriate. Honestly, pretty much any sudden expense. Most Americans have nothing or next to nothing saved. Our incomes have been stagnant for decades, while the cost of literally everything has gone up, for some things, much faster than inflation. For decades, we've been propping up the veneer of prosperity with debt. The middle class has been hollowed out. There are only two classes now, the rich and the borrowing class. If you're in the latter, you will never be secure, ever. You'll always be a job loss or a divorce or a serious illness away from being in serious trouble. And when you land there, there will be plenty of banks and credit card issuers waiting to load you up with debt you'll never be able to repay. Makes for more obedient workers. Mortgage renewal interest rates. Similarly, property tax increases. Cost of aging. For real. Luckily, I don't have a serious health problem other than my gastritis. But I find myself buying pills for this and that. Allergies get worse every year. It wasn't like this 5 or 10 years ago. And I'm only 41. Having 4 trees cut down because we had no rain this summer, and record-breaking heat. Taking care of aging parents. Becoming disabled. If you start your working life able-bodied and become disabled, it is devastating. More so when you realize you will never be able to save again. Double down that it feels like you are losing your mind, your intelligence. The pain makes you want to die. You begin to hate and resent yourself for all of the things you can't provide your family. You hate when things have to be half fixed in your house because you simply can't afford to fix it. But I know that the only way that we could have gotten the house at all was the disability settlement. It is an awful catch-22. Inflation never recedes, and there is no way to avoid it.